Okay, here we go.
Oh,
All
you're the
right.
one
Well,
eating this time.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. All right. Welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I'm here with a band that has been on the show before, and I was thinking about it. It was actually, not too much more than a year ago that you were last on the podcast, and
Yep.
we'll get into all of this. But I mean, you're a band that's been around for quite a while, and that was sort of my first time actually talking to any of you about what it is that you do. So I'm happy to have you back on the show. And I mean, you have new music coming out, which is sort of why you're here. But I think the best way to start this off is if the three of you who are here today want to introduce yourselves and give a bit of background about what you do in Ash and the Arsonists, and then we can go from there.
Yep. Well, I'm
Matt,
Matt
go ahead.
Dara. I am the percussion purveyor or drummer, as you might call it, in Ash and the Arsonists. I also do a lot of social media stuff and other things for the band, and just general content and organizing things like this interview you're having right here. But yeah, mainly it's just the drums and doing some backup vocals and other stuff like that. And yeah, Burn EP coming soon. We'll get into it.
We will. Yeah. Who else we got here today?
Joe Carson, guitar player for Ash the Arsonists. I'm really excited to be back on this show and great to see you and talk to you again.
Right on.
Hey, it's Ash from Ash and the Arsonist. I uh, I attempt to sing and I attempt to play guitar.
Right, and you're the titular Ash in the band name, yeah, for sure. Like I said, you were on fairly recently. People hopefully have heard that episode if they're regular listeners to the show. But just because it's always the worst question, how do you define what you do? I mean, I have an idea after having interviewed before and listening to you, sort of what you sound like. But for people who are new to your band, is there sort of a Coles Notes quick version you can give of what the band's sound is?
Band
Probably.
sound. That's I don't know. Matt, what would you say?
Well, just like it's sort of a mesh between your, let's say, 90s to 2000s alternative rock and metal, and then just branching into the sounds of those same respective genres in the current day. I think
Okay.
that's how you would sum it up, and I think that's a good mesh of people who have that sort of millennial nostalgia that you can rope in that way, and people who are just tuned into tuned into the current sonic landscape of metal and rock, I would say, and just keeping it original and just adding our own respective touches to it along the way.
Cool, cool. Again, I don't want to dwell too much on the fact that you were on the show last year, but in that time, sort of since the last time I talked to you, how has the sound developed? Because obviously you've been around for a while, you've established what your sound is, what you just sort of described, in detail there. But on the new music you have coming out, if people are familiar with the band, has there been a shift or any progress? Or I mean, it's going to change regardless, just having been in a band for a while. But how have things
There,
changed from record to record or year to
well,
year?
I would
there
say,
has been a big shift. There actually has been a big shift lately in this new record. We have a song that's too heavy for radio on this
yeah,
record coming
Power
up.
97. Okay, let me get into this. Yo, so Burn, which, feature it if you want. We have a new song called Burn, which as of right now, I still think has not made it to streaming services because we surprise released it too early and set it up, but it'll be up eventually. So that's going to be the title track of the EP coming on April 11th. And we gave it to Ed Garcia to play River City Rocks. And he said, look, I talked to my boss and it was too heavy for the radio, actually. So we gave him another one, but then I just talked to him today. He said some things are getting moved around with River City Rocks with the day and whatnot. So he'll get back to me, but I still think it's going to be played regardless. So there is that. And then there's a little more versatility to sound like we're getting more of Matt Curry's backup vocals in there because in the first EP, you had we had Taylor was on there, and now it's the four of us. So I'm doing the backup vocals, a lot of the parts that she did, because there's a few songs on there that are still holdovers from the original crop of songs that we had before we started writing with Joe and doing all this new stuff.
Sure.
And so there's there's that aspect of it. And then there's a couple of new ones called Wound and Unseen War. And Wound, you're going to hear some three-part harmony going down there, and just bringing Matt Curry more into the forefront. Unfortunately, he's not here to speak with us tonight, but you will certainly hear from him on the record and at a later date and on April 12th for the EP release. But yeah, I mean, the main thing besides that is, oh yeah, and by the way, thanks to UMFM for spinning Burn and doing that. And I think Vicky Grandy's spinning it online
Yes.
too. So, and pause, collecting thoughts. So the other thing I can say is shout out to Len Bedside Stews. He did great work. We moved over to Studio 23 with our good friend Jody Hunter for this next record. We got Jen Knows, who is she was doing the production there, and then Dale McIntyre from Exomerita, who you know, and
Yep.
Northern Royals. He did the production. Then we had Jamie Sitar doing the mastering. So that's our mix and master team over there, and I would say they did an excellent job. And I think the work that we did over at 23, and I think we plan to do a little more soon, maybe in June for some other stuff. It's like a sonic leap. It's a big leap forward sonically and in terms of production, in terms of like the composition and production from the last one. And that's all you can ask for, and all you can really aim for is to just keep evolving and stepping up and just doing as much as you can do and just make it sound great. So
Definitely,
that's
yeah,
all I gotta
yeah.
say there.
Well, just to step back a bit to what you said about the being too heavy for radio. What like how heavy are you talking? Because you're also talking about three-part harmonies in the same sentence, right? And that does not that doesn't
That's a
imply like
different song.
So,
That's
right,
a
so we
right.
got
different.
the way we did this, like we have the more radio friendly songs, and then we have an old song that Ash had written, and he had sent me when I first joined the band, and we were listening to it, and we didn't like the way, I guess we didn't like the way it sounded in the choruses because it was in a different tuning before. And
It
then
sounded
Ash
like
was messing
Contender.
around, and then yeah, it sounded a lot like a couple of our other songs. And so Ash decided that well, I'm going to try a new tuning. So for the guitar players out there, I think it's drop B flat, but like it's A sharp, whatever. Uh, and it is ridiculously like it's a 7 string guitar tuned down a half step. So it's really heavy in the guitar work. And then there is one crazy Ash guttural scream that he does that's like super like Lamb of God esque, like that kind of band
sure.
esque.
I think
Pretty
that's what
different
did it in. Our
in the
theory
radio.
is
Yeah.
like, because there's heavy. Matt Corey was on there a little while ago with Dust, the new song Dust, but that's like, there's different types of heavy. That's Nickelback heavy. Ours is just
Yeah.
more like the last couple of
Heavy,
Seven
heavy.
Dust records, pretty much. And
Right.
then you add that scream in. I think that's what made the bigwigs over in '97 go, this is a little too much for our airwaves. Which on one hand, it's a badge of honor, but on the other hand, I would have loved for people to hear that and go, what the hell?
It,
Respectfully, like that would have been great, but still gonna hear it soon. You can hear it soon right now. It's out, not quite yet on streaming. That's coming. It probably will be at the time this episode
when
airs.
people hear it, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
But
is
the
that
video's
a
out.
direction you're going more into, that heavy direction? Because I think if you guys, like you said, you have the alt rock thing, you have the kind of 90s, early 2000s sort of vibe. But I don't think of you obviously as a metal band or anything like that. I mean, and
No,
I'm not
Oh,
saying you became one, but is that heaviness something you aspire to do more of?
we're playing with that
there's a
sound on
couple.
a couple of.
I got this one. I got this
Okay, okay, okay.
one. There was a couple of there's a couple of songs coming up on the third record that are that we've already started working on that I think are going to be more in that. There's a couple that I know are going to be a little bit more on the heavy side, but we're still trying to do the commercial value so we can get on the radio. So trying to get our style of music, right? We're not trying to
Sure.
be pigeonholed into one thing. We do have another song that we play that's in the same tuning as Burn, and it's just as heavy, might be even heavier.
Yeah.
But then there's songs like a song that we've been playing called Six Cycle, which is going to be off the third record, and it's like basically it's got clean guitar parts in it, like from these crazy heavy guitar parts to playing like acoustic guitars. Like
Well,
there's different things we're doing, and Matt's going to fill you in on the acoustic part too.
sure, sure.
Yeah,
I've got a question after that, but go ahead, Matt.
oh yeah, well, that's exactly, you read my mind exactly where I was going. So that's the other thing that, and literally we just did a gig at the 40 in Brandon. We got back yesterday. Well, Ash got back on Saturday night or whatever. He likes to leave early. I don't know why. But the thing is, so we were just out there, and before we actually did the show out there with Matt Corey and Pure Entry, we did this thing called Manitoba Music Makers. It's this local program that they got on at the local TV out there in Brandon. And it also airs online, does all this other kind of stuff where you get bands coming in either to the 40 or some other spot in Brandon or the WCG TV studio, and they just go and do a couple of little acoustic number performances, just little unplugged, stripped down stuff, and then just talk about the music like we're doing now. And then you just throw a music video or something, some other feature at the end of it. So we filmed that, and that should be out in a couple of weeks or so. So we're playing around with more of the acoustic stuff. Like beforehand, the last couple of weeks, we've just been playing around with the acoustics and the cajones and all that type of stuff, and just seeing how our songs sound stripped down. And surprisingly, a lot of them work. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And I was mentioning we were going to do more Studio 23 work in June. And what we're planning to do, because I have some studio time booked in, is we're going to do a 3 song little acoustic stopgap EP
Cool.
before we go. That's the last time you're going to hear of an EP for a while, because the next one is going to be an LP. It's going to be a full length, 10 songs, maybe more. But that's going to be the last thing we're dropping. It be a live album, you never know. But that for sure. We're just flooding the market. But we're experimenting with the acoustics. And trust me, when you hear "I Don't Care" acoustic, that is magic.
Well,
Just
I do have some questions about the acoustic stuff, but before that, you mentioned earlier you guys were talking about sort of the commercial type of sound, and you want to get on the radio. That's sort of the goal with a lot of this stuff. I've had conversations with lots of bands and lots of different genres about the idea of sort of where you want your music to end up, whether it's on the radio, whether it's you're not playing a style that's going to work on the radio, so you have other avenues. How do you, as a band, sort of aim for radio, but also try to maintain sort of your own sound, because there is a radio sound and there's definitely an opportunity for a lot of bands to sort of mold themselves in that style. But how do you keep your originality, I guess, in your songwriting, while also aiming for sort of more of a commercial thing?
well, I guess just incorporating. I mean, you just having a sense of the mesh and the identity, and just working together collectively that you have as a band. I mean, even before Joe or any of us was around, there was a core sound that was there, and it's just evolved over time. So that foundation has been there for a minute, so that certainly helps. But beyond that point, I would say, just keep on working on just trying to mesh all the other elements and the heavy stuff, and sprinkle little bits of that in, just to remind you that it is Ash and the Arsonists. We're not going soft, we're not going pop, not doing none of that shit. What we
No,
are doing though is we just try to increase on the songwriting, and throw something catchy, throw something melodic in wherever it calls for it. And we give it to 97, we give it to whoever, and just say, hey, take this for a spin. You could just take it or leave it. And so I think we got a
I
good mix
mean,
of this EPs for sure.
we're very lucky in the fact that both Ash and Matt can both write great lyrics. Both of them have Ash especially has come in with the all of the songs so far, except maybe one or two, that are just they're incredible. Like they're incredibly written and they're meaningful, and a lot of them, like when I listen to, especially one on the new record called the Unseen War. It's one of those songs that makes you feel inspired, makes you it's like an anthem of hope, basically. And then Matt's writing, with coming in with lyrics, coming in with full songs, even. It's really cool to see where this is going, and I know that when we get to the third record, it's gonna be a level up from where we're at currently before
Cool.
this one's even out.
Cool.
And that Unseen War track, that was actually a Joe composition. I mean, never mind the lyrics. Ash added his lyrics to it, but Joe started that off with a riff. That was the first one that we like officially did with him. So we got
Cool.
to give him his compositional credit as well. But next question, whatever the next question is, give it to the big man with the guitar over here,
Well,
because we
I was
haven't got a
actually,
word
yeah,
in yet.
I was going to go to Ash next. We sort of talked about how the sound has changed and over the years, and with this new record, lyrically, how have things changed at all? Have you sort of changed any approach to writing lyrics that you may have had in the past, or I mean, what is the sort of the process for you at this point for writing lyrics?
I'm just trying to push myself to just try write just engaging lyrics, just better lyrics. With when the first songs came about, it was all about like the Nirvana rule, like it's like nursery rhymes, right? It's doesn't you don't need a lot there. You just need something catchy and keep your something catchy, and that's all I wanted. But now these songs are getting more I'll say a lot more complicated, a lot more structure, and I just want to really push myself as a songwriter to I want to look back at this, read the lyrics and actually have substance there, and have try to write good stories. I grew up on like a lot of I don't know the 90s music, and like there was great storytelling, and that's something I want to you know try to harness.
Cool, cool.
Try to do that. Yeah.
Do you feel that it's that on these newer songs that you're heading in that direction? Like, are you accomplishing that so far?
Yeah, I'm trying. Trying. It's a lot of fun. It takes me a little while. Like once I get the idea down, and then I'll usually go through a process. I'll rewrite a song about, I don't know, 4 or 5 times till I'm finally happy with the lyrics, and I'll send them off to everybody, and you know, everybody seems to be happy with it so far. So yeah,
Cool, cool.
try.
Well, I was going to ask about the acoustic thing as well. I mean, what a lot of the time when you have a song that's full band and you strip it down, there's things that can be lost in translation. Do you feel that your songs work that stripped down? Not that you're going to become an acoustic band or anything, but do you feel that they translate well to that format?
The
Yes.
fun
When
thing is that we totally could. We totally could just go completely acoustic, and it would sound just the same or better. Because we did, what was it? What was the one Contender we did out at the 40?
Contender, yeah, this is the thing. It's like things aren't getting lost, things are getting added in. It's a whole
Okay,
new format. This Contender, it was perfect for the old wheat fields out in Brandon. We just countrified it and just made it stomp and made it sound like an old Twang Bomb song. It's a band that Curry and I used to be in. So that's basically the deal with that there. And then like I said, I don't care. We played that too. Watch out for that one. That could do something. That could do some damage. I'm telling you right now. But yeah, it's just adding different elements, and you get the idea. It's just you're not taking anything away. You're just adding things in, reimagining them, and that's just
sure.
basically the deal, right? So
a lot
And
of
there's
these songs, like I'm usually sitting here with my acoustic most of the time. Uh, the song structures are from just me and an acoustic.
Yeah.
So I'll be sitting here, strumming, like kind of mumbling stuff until I get like a melody going, then I'll fill it in with lyrics. So always the song structure always starts with me and an acoustic when I'm doing it.
So it's not too much of a
and
stretch then to have the whole band doing that.
No.
no,
no,
the fun part about playing acoustic is that there's nowhere to hide. When we're playing full on electric guitar and we're on stage and running around doing all this stuff, there's room to make a mistake, and especially like in my solos, like I'm known to play very fast. There's room for error, but there's not on an acoustic guitar. Everything is like every mistake is amplified 10 times more than it would be on the electric, which
Sure.
is for musicianship. It's really challenging to take a song where for example, Contender. It's a very heavy song, and then try to make it so that it doesn't sound empty when you're playing it acoustically. It speaks to the level of musicianship in this band, and I'm very thankful for the guys that I play with. And I've said that since the day I joined this band.
Does that help you improve as a musician? Just knowing that you don't have that sort of wall of noise to hide behind.
Exactly, and it helps knowing that I'm going on stage with three of the best musicians that this province has to offer every night. I know that my monitor mix is just me because I know what they're going to do is right,
It's a good
and we
good
have
problem
this
to have, right?
we have this trust between the four of us that we know each of us are going to put on the best possible performance we can and play the best that we can every night, and it's
Cool.
very cool to see.
Well, with this EP, what is the? I mean, the good thing about this being a podcast, right, is people could hear it the day this comes out, or they could hear it a year from now, at which point the EP has been out for a while.
oh yeah,
But if you're listening, sort of at the day this comes out, what's the timeline on when this is being released and how it's being released?
April 11th.
Okay.
April 11th is the day that this EP is being released, and we are having the EP release party the day after at the Osborne Tap House with the Lovers and Sleepless. That's
Cool.
what's going on. And we're actually, as of this recording, we're doing a little thing for TJ's gift battle of the bands, whatever. But yeah,
Yes,
so there's another gig in front of
listen,
that that's relevant. Yep. We could talk about that in a minute, but yeah, EP release is happening April 11th. All the songs are all mixed mastered. We just got to get CD copies printed. That's the final step. And we got the packaging artwork happening already. A shout out to Adam House from
Oh, right on. Yeah,
Pollution Lake Media. Sorry,
that's very good work. Yeah,
yes, for doing that there. And yeah, it'll be ready to go. It'll be
cool.
ready to go, and it's gonna tear some faces off. I'm pretty sure. Look
Right
out.
on, right on. Yeah, it's a good way to describe it. I like that. I like that. I like that. So you mentioned a few times tonight that you have other music that you're already working on for the follow up for the next LP. Have you already heard the sound progress even more beyond the EP tracks on these new ones? Like, is it constantly changing and evolving, or do you feel like these new ones are sort of in the same mode as the EP?
There's some variety. Like Ash is working on another one currently that's a little different. It's a little more danceable, actually, believe it or
Okay.
not. We're gonna get into that. And there's one that I've written, which is like like an arena song pretty much. We're yet to get to that. That's one like I just came up with pretty much entirely myself, with the exception of Joe, and he took almost a year to send me the solo, but that's okay. But
Sorry,
you know,
Matt.
and then it's no, it's okay, but you sent it. But then there's, like I said, we mentioned the song Six Cycle, which we've already started to play live. There's the other one, Desolation Insane, which is very heavy. It's like Burn. And then there's this one, Six Cycle, which is, if you want to talk about the sonic evolution that is consistently consistently happening, that's a good representation of it. It's just a soaring, huge song, big chorus, all that stuff, real like clean, heavy dynamics between the verse and the
Cool.
chorus, that old chestnut. So it's kind of like Slither by Velvet Revolver, but like not
Okay.
not quite. It's a big song, and there's a lot of good material that's already coming for this LP, whether that's going to be out late 25, early 26, whenever the hell it's going to be out, it's going to be good. So, I'm enjoying the progress.
Cool. Well, that was my next question is, do you have an idea of when that's coming out? But obviously this is all still in the works, and the EP is sort of the first thing that you want people to check out.
Yep.
So
Arsonist
that's
2025. Arsonist 2025. That's what's up. It was
this
Arsonist
is your year.
2024
Yeah.
last year. It's always our year, and it's going to be more so our year. Check it out.
Right on. So if someone's hearing this, if someone's hearing you for the first time on the show, and maybe they missed your last appearance, they haven't heard you over the past couple of years, they just discovered you. What's the best way to find out more about what you're doing? First of all, to hear your music, and then to find out about upcoming shows and stuff like that.
Social media. So we have two handles for YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. It's just Ash and the Arsonist, or TikTok notes, anyone who actually reads that thing. Or Threads, Instagram, and X. We are Arsonist 204.
Okay.
So Arsonist with an S at the end, 204. So that's where you can find all the updates, and you can just look us up on streaming services as Ash and the Arsonist. Just go to ashandthearsonist.com, which is our official website, and you'll be able to find everything except maybe Burn, the song, as of right now. So
Right.
that's the deal.
And then you mentioned, I'm always happy to hear this. You mentioned physical CDs. There's some of us who are dinosaurs who still love physical media. I'm glad to hear you doing it. I don't use streaming services. I'm fully in that mode, but where can people get that? I guess that shows would probably be the best way to pick up a physical copy once it's out.
Yeah, shows. I mean, we're obviously going to have a whole bunch ready at the shows. I mean, you can also just, if you want a copy, you can just DM us, or just, we can drop it off to you if you're a certain distance away, too far for car travel or whatever. Like, you get the idea. We'll just mail it to you. Like, I got this records. Go ahead.
And if you live in the States, you can put Kraken Records.
That's what I was just about to say. So, yeah, you down in the U.S., my guy Brandon Howell, where he lives in New Martinsville, West Virginia, he has a record store in his area which stocked a few copies of the first EP.
Oh, cool.
It's called Kraken Records, and I'm going to send him a few more when this one's out. And I'm actually looking at going down there potentially in the summer. We'll see. I'm just trying to stockpile my money and see what we can do. So that's the deal.
Right on. So again, April 11th release date, and that's when people can get it on all the streaming services. And then the next day, do you want to plug the show one more time?
Yes. Actually, it's April 11th. April 11th is the show.
Did I say April or March?
April.
Okay, April.
Whatever. It's probably going to be like May or something when this episode is out. But anyway, April 11th.
April 11th.
When the Burn EP is out.
Okay.
April 12th is the EP release show with The Lovers and Sleepless. Be there or be square, and pick up a CD and t-shirt while you're there.
Awesome.